Right now, on To The Point, an earthquake in the Delta. How well those early warning systems worked.
I had about 10 to 15 seconds to actually take protective action.
President Biden in Israel, now expected to deliver an Oval Office address tomorrow. And why a Davis company is hoping the idea of fluorescent plants grows. Thanks for joining us. This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Now, you likely received emergency alerts on your devices this morning. An earthquake in the Delta triggered early warning systems and sent out notifications to help you protect yourself. So tonight, Becca Habegger looks at how well those systems actually worked.
This was the alert many people in the Sacramento area and even Bay Area received just before 9:30 Wednesday morning. It's a warning system called Shake Alert from the U.S. Geological Survey. It monitors for significant earthquakes and issues alerts to warn that strong shaking is expected imminently.
I had about 10 to 15 seconds to actually take protective action.
Tim Dawson is the program manager for seismic hazards at the California Geological Survey. He felt Wednesday's magnitude 4.2 earthquake from his office in San Mateo, more than 50 miles from the epicenter southwest of Ileton.
About 15 seconds after I got the alert, the building kind of swayed a little bit and I could feel the waves pass through the building. It was a great experience.
A great experience because the warning worked. People had time to take cover.
People felt shaking, people got the alerts, so I would say that this was a success in our book.
Dr. Angie Lux is the project scientist for earthquake early warning at the UC Berkeley Seismology Lab, which developed the MyShake app. It delivers shake alerts across California, Oregon, and Washington. She says the early warning was great, though she acknowledges the MyShake alert overstated the strength of the earthquake.
We did overestimate the initial magnitude. We said it was a 5.7. That was definitely a little high, so I know that caught some people off guard. But overall, the system performed exactly as it should have done.
She says even though the Sacramento area doesn't typically see earthquakes as frequently or as strong as those elsewhere in the state, people should still take cover when they get a warning. Near the epicenter in Ileton, Miriam Carbajal was at work when the quake hit.
It just shook. I was able to see the whole shelves go like side to side, and then behind me there was some bottles. I heard him falling.
The city manager tells ABC 10 he is not aware of any structural damage in the small Delta city.
I got the alert, did you?
I sure did, yep.
Oh, yeah. Now, the experts that you spoke to say that most of the earthquakes that we feel here in Sacramento actually come from the west.
You know, Alex, Tim Dawson with the California Geological Survey says it's likely today's earthquake came from the Midland Fault, which extends from Byron on the southern end up to Dixon on the northern end. And it's part of something called the Great Valley Thrust Fault System. It's basically a series of faults along the western side of the Sacramento and San Joaquin valleys. So, for example, he points to a magnitude 6.3 earthquake that happened just outside Coalinga in 1983. And in 1892, Alex, two earthquakes between Vacaville and Winters measured 6.4 and 6.6. He says these are all good reminders that bigger quakes can happen here and, of course, to take those warnings seriously.
Yeah, to make sure to listen to those warnings. That's why we have the alerts. All right, thanks, Becca. And speaking of those warnings, do you know what to do in an earthquake? Most people might run outside or to a doorway, but the California Earthquake Authority says that is not the best idea.
Drop to the ground, cover your head, and hold on to something if you can. It's really important that you do this action and hold on to a table or a desk if you can, because the whole idea is to make yourself as small as possible. When an earthquake occurs, we found in California, running out the door, running towards a window or doorway is not helpful. Most people trip and fall, and a lot of the injuries that actually occur when things fly off the shelves and hit people.
The California Earthquake Authority says most Californians live within 30 miles of an active fault, and we all need to be prepared. And we can't make this up. Tomorrow just happens to be the Great Shakeout. If you have the MyShake app, you will be getting a test alert on your phone at 10:19 in the morning. The alert will look just like this with the words test on it, and schools will also be participating in those earthquake drills. And if you want to learn more about earthquake preparedness and what a big quake could do to the West Coast, make sure you check out our series Earthquake Ready or Not on abc10.com. In the Israel-Hamas war, things are far from over. Tonight, President Biden is returning home from Israel and is expected to address the nation tomorrow night. So it comes as protests grow, and there's new developments on aid moving into Gaza. Melissa Adon reports.
Unrest growing in the Middle East over concerns that Israel's war against Hamas could spark a wider conflict. Demonstrations turning violent outside the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon. ABC's Mola Lenghi taking cover amid the chaos.
As you can see, protesters pushing back against security forces, starting by throwing rocks, launching fireworks. It's been a constant push and pull here between security forces and the protesters who are trying to push up against the American embassy. They say they are outraged at Israel's bombardment of Palestinian citizens and the U.S. support for it.
Tensions skyrocketing following the explosion at a Gaza hospital that killed hundreds of Palestinian civilians. Israel adamant they were not responsible. The U.S. says intelligence backs that up, citing intel sources in its preliminary assessment. But for some, no amount of evidence will change their opinion. President Biden says the evidence he's been shown so far indicates it was an errant rocket by a terrorist group in Gaza.
I come to Israel with a single message. You're not alone.
President Biden showing solidarity and meeting with Israel leaders, saying the goal of his visit was to get as many Americans out as possible and get humanitarian aid into Gaza. Biden says Egypt's president has agreed to open the Rafah crossing gate to allow up to 20 trucks with aid through, expected to arrive Friday. Meantime, a warning that the war is increasing the chances of violence domestically. New intelligence bulletin says potential targets include individuals and institutions perceived as symbolic of or tied to the conflict. There are heightened security in places of worship. This as the Biden administration is expected to request $10 billion in aid to Israel as part of their larger supplemental spending requests to Congress.
The British Prime Minister plans to visit Israel tomorrow. The world will be watching closely for what President Biden has to say in his Oval Office address. And the address is expected to happen at 5 o'clock in the evening, our time. So be sure to join us right here on ABC 10 for the news at 5 as we await that address, followed by the world news tonight with David Muir, then the ABC 10 news at 6, and then, of course, To the Point at 6:30. New tonight, a year and a half in federal prison. That's the sentence for a Sacramento man convicted in the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. George Riley pleaded guilty to obstruction of an official proceeding and aiding and abetting. He admitted to entering the Capitol and being part of a mob that pushed past law enforcement officers. He posted photos to Facebook that day, including a selfie. One post said, "Hey, we're storming the Capitol." The judge sentenced Riley to 18 months at a federal prison in Santa Barbara County, followed by 2 years probation. Riley also must pay $2,000 in restitution for damage done to the Capitol, plus a $100 fine. His prison sentence begins next month. New developments in the Speaker of the House vote. House Republicans tried and failed again to elect a new speaker. Now Republicans are trying to move forward to reopen the House. Ohio Republican Jim Jordan losing his second bid for Speaker of the House. A second round of voting on the floor resulting in 22 Republicans voting against him.
A speaker has not been elected.
Jordan did pick up 2 holdouts who switched their votes and one who didn't attend yesterday's vote. Jordan needs 217 votes to become Speaker, and he says he's not giving up.
I already proven I can get from the most conservative members of the conference to the more moderate members of the conference.
The House Rules Chairman who defended Kevin McCarthy and didn't want him removed 2 weeks ago, today called on the Republican Party to rally around Jim Jordan. Meanwhile, Democrats are calling on Hakeem Jeffries to become Speaker.
The country can't afford more delays and more chaos. 15 days should be enough.
Without a speaker, the House cannot pass legislation. The House could hold another vote as soon as tomorrow. Next, on To the Point. The state attorney general calling the fentanyl crisis a full-on state of emergency. The steps the state is now taking.
Moderate heat risk expected for your Thursday as we'll see temperatures pushing 90s. How long it'll last and when we can expect some big changes.
And later in the show, why a Davis company is hoping the idea of fluorescent plants grows.
How do you make soils more healthy and more resilient so that we can continue to do this for more and more generations?
All right, time for your weather. Meteorologist Carly Gomez tracking the heat and the rain. Is the heat almost gone?
All here, right? I know. A lot of people have been like, wow, we've had almost every other weekend has been heating up. We had aftershock weekend, very hot out there, even pushing triple digits in Fairfield that weekend. We had mid to low 90s. Now we're dealing with another heat up. Take a look at this. This is tomorrow's forecast highs versus records. Now, no one broke a record today, but got close in Stockton. Tomorrow, we're forecasting highs around 92 and 93 degrees, records around 91 and 92, even 89 in Modesto. So very likely tomorrow we will be breaking records, likely. So we'll have to keep you posted if we do or don't. All right, let's talk about the weather headlines. Now, we have been seeing a lot of those beautiful fall leaves, and the moderate heat risk is going to continue. We will see that tomorrow as well. We saw that heat today, but we're looking at some heat tomorrow in the 90s. Shower chances are still possible and arriving for the weekend, expecting to see a change starting into your Friday evening and Saturday with the clouds rolling in and then showers moving in for your Sunday. Depending on where you are, you may get more, you may get less. Now, cool down is expected with those showers next week. Currently, high pressure systems in place are bringing heat advisories along the coastlines from the Bay Area to Southern California in effect from 8 p.m. until 11 p.m. tomorrow. We will be seeing temperatures near 90 degrees for those areas, and they typically get much cooler temperatures, but they will not be. Sunday, we start seeing at least early morning hours some of those showers rolling in. We could see about 1/10 of an inch for a lot of areas, at least as we move closer to the foothill spots in the valley, but really expecting about less than 1/10 of an inch for most valley spots. As we take a look at our temperatures, we'll be right around these mid to low 90s tomorrow, and the 10-day forecast bringing our temperatures into the mid 80s by Friday, low to mid to low 70s Saturday, Sunday with showers, and then finally back down into low 70s next week. Alex.
Thanks, Carly. Next, on to the point, the Rite Aid bankruptcy, what pharmacies will be closing locally, and the new efforts just announced to address the fentanyl crisis. There's a new effort in California's fight against fentanyl. The state attorney general says his team is now joining a federal task force to end fentanyl trafficking at our southern borders. Our Alicia Machado shows us what this means and what else the state says they're doing.
We are in a full-on state of emergency, full state of crisis when it comes to the fentanyl epidemic. Lives lost, children's lives cut short.
The California Department of Justice is joining an effort to stop fentanyl from getting into our communities. Attorney General Rob Bonta announced that his team will join the Fentanyl Abatement and Suppression Team. Known as FAST, the federal task force aims to stop criminal organizations from smuggling fentanyl through the California-Mexico border and distributing the deadly drug in the United States. Bonta made the announcement at a roundtable discussion in San Diego Wednesday morning.
Half of all fentanyl seized in this entire country comes through our district's ports of entry,
impacting thousands of lives across the nation and in our area. Last year, a 15-year-old girl from Roseville died from fentanyl poisoning. The man who gave it to her recently sentenced to 15 years to life in prison in California's first fentanyl murder conviction. The girl's mother speaking with ABC 10 after the sentencing.
Unbearable. It is absolutely unbearable. We cannot have other children and parents go through this.
Governor Newsom recently signed several bills into law to further address the opioid crisis. Among them, legislation that adds fentanyl to the list of controlled substances, increasing penalties on drug traffickers. Another bill requires schools to create safety plans for prevention and response to fentanyl poisoning and overdoses.
Over the past year, the federal task force has helped arrest more than 50 fentanyl smugglers, distributors, and dealers in San Diego County. And your price points following Rite Aid's bankruptcy filing, we're learning more about the locations that will close. So 31 stores in California will shut their doors, including the location on Sunrise Boulevard in Citrus Heights and the location on Fulton Avenue in Sacramento. And if you are a T-Mobile customer, pay attention to your bill. T-Mobile is sending notices to some subscribers on older plans that they will automatically be moved to more expensive plans unless they opt out. In most cases, the switch would add up to about $5 a month. The face of agriculture and farming as we know it may be changing, all thanks to the latest technology. Meteorologist Carly Gomez is back. And Carly, you're saying that some plants may now be able to communicate their needs?
Yeah, that's right. And plants and crops are now getting some genetic help to let farmers know they're stressed out. Whether it's fungus, mold, or pest infestations, these plants will be triggered to let farmers know it's time to give them a little help.
on this 15,000-acre farm. Ben Rinchi and his family have tended to the needs of their crops for 6 generations.
1857 is when they settled in this local area, and my family has been farming on this road since that time.
The Rinchi family helped build the community of Jubilee, Iowa, and were some of the first to adopt modern machinery into their farming. While the newest innovations made farming easier, the biggest obstacles the Rinchis say they faced over their 165 years is the unpredictable weather.
There's rarely a year where everything goes perfect. It can be too dry, too wet, too hot, too cold, too early, too late.
But now, new technology is giving crops a voice of their own.
They go into soil and we grow them up,
helping them communicate their needs.
We help the plants express through an optical signal in their leaves when they're experiencing something, like if they're attacked by fungal pressure or insects or they need more nitrogen.
A group of researchers insert a line of coding into soybean DNA.
Really what we're looking for is called the meristem.
After trial and error, the beans that showed the genetic trait for illuminating when subjected to fungus are getting replicated.
Farmers will buy the seeds, plant them, and then as soon as we get the plants growing, we can then detect if there's a fungal infestation from satellites through our satellite partners.
In the research lab, we didn't need to wait for a satellite to scan the plants. We got a first-hand look through specialized glasses.
This plant here, you're gonna see like a little faint red glow. Yeah. That's the chlorophyll. So every plant, you could go outside and put these glasses on. Any plant you go to is gonna give this red color. Now, if we come over here, now you should see that bright green spot. Yeah. That is the green fluorescence from our signal. So we engineered that signal into the plants.
Shelly Aronov and Rod Kumamoto are the co-founders of Interplant in Davis, California. In 2024, they will be sending their soybean seeds over 1,800 miles away to the Rinchi family farm in Iowa, where they'll be monitoring the growth and communication via satellite.
I see the greatest benefit in this to being in large acre crops because of the technology it takes to analyze the data, to get the images off the plants.
The small startup hopes to revolutionize the way we farm in the future.
They can increase their yields by eliminating all these stresses early, and they can also eliminate the unnecessary use of chemistry, right? You don't want to spray everywhere, you just want to spray where you need it.
As the saying goes, closed mouths don't get fed, but with the plants doing the talking, at least visually. Shelley believes this could help the world's food supply while protecting the environment as a whole.
We currently lose about 40% of our yields to pathogens globally. Think about it, we can almost double the amount of food we produce and do nothing different, right? Just have better tools.
For Ben, it's more than just using the latest and greatest technology. It's a means to create security and jobs for his family and employees for generations to come.
We get one crop a year. I get one paycheck a year. It's the crop I'm standing in. I really don't have much margin for error.
This technology is crazy, so interesting. But I will say the glow-in-the-dark part might have people wondering, like, is this safe?
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking that, but in fact, actually, it exists already. So it is safe. It exists in nature. You might have heard of like bioluminescence, kind of the marine life out there. Those fluorescent proteins are found in plant marine life and certain fungi. What scientists were able to do is isolate that protein that glows with fungus and do trial and error with embedding it into seeds. Now, the plant that grew and displayed those elements of glowing are being replicated. Interplant says the plants are already USDA approved and research is close to done for FDA approval.
And it's also important to point out that a majority of the soybeans in the U.S. are to feed animals.
Yeah, they are.
Carly, thank you so much. All right, and coming up tomorrow on To The Point, we are heading to Apple Hill, how climate change with warmer nights and warmer days is impacting those famous apples. So don't miss that story right here tomorrow at 6:30. After the break, counting down to the new Sacramento Kings season. Welcome back. The Sacramento Kings are wrapping up their preseason this week. They play the Warriors in San Francisco at 7 tonight, and then their regular season gets underway next week in Utah. followed by the home opener next Friday. So we got a sneak peek today at what Kings fans can look forward to this season. This is at the Golden One Interactive Skills Challenge. The state-of-the-art game is near section 111 and encourages fans to follow some drills led by Kings mascot Slamson, including dribbling on a mini court. And you can test your skills and rack up some points for prizes.
Wanted to reimagine our experience here at Golden One Center, and so this is a collaboration between the Kings and an amazing vendor named Revolution. So we've been working on this for about 2 years, and we're so excited to finally have it live.
All right, and I appreciate you spending your time with us here on To The Point. This show is all about spending more time on stories that matter to you. So if there's something you care about or you just want more information on, send us an email. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.